The Oklahoma City Thunder just became the second youngest team in NBA history to win a championship, and despite the fact that the Thunder came into the postseason as the odds-on favorite, this was a team that was battle-tested, they had gone through the ringer, and this was a team that was prepared for a Game 7 of the NBA Finals, which was the first one that we've had in 9 years, and this Oklahoma City team deserved every single moment of this. I couldn't be any happier for the Oklahoma City organization, Sam Presti, Mark Dagnall, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you name it. And you've got to tip your cap to this gritty Indiana Pacers team who absolutely nobody expected to come out of the Eastern Conference. This was a team that was battle-tested last year in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Boston Celtics, gave them everything that they had, and Tyrese Halliburton's incredible heroics was able to propel this team to the NBA Finals, and the Indiana Pacers have nothing to be ashamed about losing in 7 to this Oklahoma City Thunder team, because they were not only statistically one of the greatest teams that we've ever seen, but this finals lived up to the hype. The Pacers had their first finals appearance since the year 2000, their first 50-win season since the year 2014, and the fact that both of these organizations built it from the ground up is what impressed me the most about this NBA Finals. You cannot talk about this Finals without talking about Paul George, because Paul George was the reason why both the Oklahoma City Thunder and Indiana Pacers are where they are at today, and with the Thunder being champions. We all know that the draft capital and players and assets that were acquired through both Paul George trades that sent him from Indiana to Oklahoma City and then eventually from Oklahoma City to the Clippers, both organizations got everything out of that propelled them to where they're at today. The Thunder obviously were able to land SGA in that trade to get him to the Oklahoma City Thunder and eventually use those draft capital and picks to get Jalen Williams. Then you look at the Indiana Pacers, who were able to eventually land Tyrese Halliburton with those picks and then the rest of their assets to round out the roster to where they're at today. But the thing that I love the most is the fact that both of these teams are not only small market teams, but like I said, they did this from the ground up. These organizations did not cheat the system. They developed their talent. They continue to trust the process and let their young stars shine. And that's exactly what they did. They got the right veterans. They got the right championship pedigree around their young guys to eventually get them to where they're at today. And when you talk about the Pacers acquiring Tyrese Halliburton just a couple of years ago, this was an organization that then, when they thought that they were ready to go all in, which I believe was 2 years ago or last year, they made that trade for Pascal Siakam. They continue to let Miles Turner run the show, who is probably going to be gone this offseason, and they continue to trust the development of their guys, Benedict Mathurin, TJ McConnell, Tyrese Halliburton, you name it. They did it from the ground up. And for the Oklahoma City Thunder, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander helped propel this team into a completely different stratosphere over the last 2 seasons, making them a top seed in the Western Conference in the regular season in back-to-back years. They draft Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren in the year 2022, and you saw the development of this Oklahoma City team really coming together, and you can't say enough good things about this. This is what good basketball is, and despite the fact that it had to come, unfortunately, with a sour taste of Tyrese Halliburton sustaining that Achilles injury, which we know is going to sideline him for the remainder of next season, with Jason Tatum and Damian Lillard, some of the superstars in this game, you gotta love this brand of basketball. You had the #1 offense in the Indiana Pacers going up against the #1 defense in the Oklahoma City Thunder, and it lived up to the hype. This was a 7-game series. A majority of these games were relatively close, and even in Game 7 last night, despite the fact that Chet Holmgren had just a monstrous defensive performance, the fact that Andrew Nembhard hit that 3 in the 4th quarter and cut the lead down to 10 points, you really felt like Indiana, through thick and thin, was gonna find a way to prevail and make this game tight, and that says a lot about their locker room, their grit, and their heart. And although I've been talking about both sides, let me just take a moment to also give some praise to the Oklahoma City Thunder for what they did this year, putting together a historical season with a franchise record, 68 wins. As I mentioned, they became the second youngest championship team in league history. The Thunder also became just the 4th team in history to win 84 games, joining the 2016 Golden State Warriors, as well as the 96 and 97 Chicago Bulls teams. And over their 105 games, the Thunder also outscored their opponents by 1,243 points, which was the largest cumulative point differential for any team in NBA history. You cannot say enough about the job that this Oklahoma City team did this year with their defensive prowess, with their offensive efficiency, and how this was a historically great team. And like I mentioned, they were battle tested. They did not have an easy path to the finals. Not only were the Memphis Grizzlies, the Denver Nuggets, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Indiana Pacers all top top 10 offenses in basketball this year. Every single round, the Oklahoma City Thunder were battle tested. In Game 3 against the Memphis Grizzlies, this team was down about 20 points, if I'm not mistaken, before they came back and completed the sweep in that first round series. The Denver Nuggets took them down to 7 games, and they were even down 2-1 at one point in the series. The Minnesota Timberwolves, that's a team that's gotten to the Western Conference Finals in back-to-back seasons. They're no slouch. And of course, another Game 7 of the NBA Finals. This Oklahoma City Thunder team proved to me that if you can scout and develop your players properly, you don't need to go and try to cheat the system by forming a super team, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it goes to show that you can do this thing organically. You look at other organizations that are trying to implement similar systems, like we saw with the Boston Celtics before they went all in with Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. You take a look at the Orlando Magic, who are continuing to do things from the ground up organically. They are creating a blueprint for so many NBA teams out there, the Indiana Pacers being one of them, and I just absolutely was such a fan of this NBA Finals. It lived up to the hype. I know I've said it a million times, but we got a hell of a series, and I think both of these teams, the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder, this is going to go down in the record books, and we are going to look back at this finals 10, 15 years from now and say, what a hell of a postseason. What a hell of a finals. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. What did you guys make of this 7-game series between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Indiana Pacers? Did you guys expect the Thunder to come out on top in Game 7? And overall, what did you guys make of this NBA season? Because outside of the injuries, which always play a factor into it, I thought that this was an incredible season. Definitely a lot of storylines and a lot of uncertainty, especially in the Eastern Conference, considering the fact that the top 2 seeds in the Boston Celtics and Cleveland Cavaliers did not even reach the conference finals. You love to see parity in the NBA. But thank you guys so much for sticking around and watching the video. If you guys appreciate the work and content that I do, make sure you guys go ahead and drop me a like, hit the subscribe bell, and make sure you guys also go ahead and comment down below. You guys can also follow me on my socials. All of the links will be in the description down below, so you guys can go ahead and check that out. But thank you guys again for watching, and as always, I'll catch y'all on the next one.